Welcome back. No, you're not seeing things. I'm doing figure eights in the parking lot at Auckland Harley-Davidson. So if you're wondering what's going on, it's Harley-Davidson Demo Day, and I have been thinking about this for a little while. Came out real nice and early this particular Saturday morning. This is about 2 weeks ago, beginning of August. Auckland Harley-Davidson's turn to host the Demo Day roadshow that's rolling around all the dealerships in the country at the moment. Now, I haven't ridden a tourer bike before. I've ridden tons of cruisers, but never got on the big tourers, the big bagger bikes. So I've been wanting to ride a street glide, which is what I'm on at the moment, and just to see what it's like, how it operates, and see whether or not it might be the bike for me at some point in the future. Who knows? Now, this isn't a bike review as such, but it's just my own thoughts after riding the Demo bike for, I don't know how many kilometres I went, but I rode it for about 45 minutes or so. First thought was the bike actually handles really well. It's very light. I did a couple of spins inside the car park at Auckland Harley-Davidson just to see how does it handle. Is it corner? What's it like? What's its behaviour? How's the brakes? And it, for a big bike, it feels pretty nimble, especially when it's rolling. And got it out in the motorway, and it's a very, very comfortable ride. A couple of things I noticed: it does sit quite low, which is not a bad thing. But what I did find that when I'm sitting in the seat with my feet on the boards instead of foot pegs, it's got kind of long boards for putting your feet. I found that my knees were raised quite high than what they normally are positioned on my Dyna, and that would take a little bit of getting used to. Another thing I found that when you're going over about 85 kilometres or so an hour on the bike, you do get a little bit of head buffering, which I was kind of expecting. Now, this bike is totally stock, which is why it's so quiet, and being stock, there are many things you can do to relieve the head buffering that you might get from the wind flow that's coming over the windshield, including fitting a new higher windshield, or having a lip on it, or having some other aerodynamic foils down the bottom. Apparently also works a little bit well. What the fairing though does do very well is keep the wind off the body, because riding my bike, which obviously you've seen, it has no fairing whatsoever, so you're kind of feeling the road breeze all the time. I have to wear quite a few layers during winter time because it gets cold. What I found on this bike, it's a cold morning, but man, I was starting to get quite hot because I wasn't getting the expected breeze on my body. So I mean, that's a good thing, and that's what it's about. It's supposed to make long distance travelling more comfortable and easier for the rider. Now, with the way that I'm taking this bike, I've had it on, well, gave it some spins in the car park just to make sure that I could do some slow speed stuff, and it was fine. I had it in suburban streets heading to the motorway, on the motorway, and now we're on open country roads, and in all conditions the bike just flicks around real nice. It's quite a nimble bike. I mean, it's a lot heavier than my Fat Bob, but it's by no means unmanageable, not at all. It's a very, very comfortable bike to ride. It's got plenty of pickup. This has got the 114 cubic inch motor. No work done on it. It's purely stock with a little tweak here and there. I'm sure you could make it a little bit more angry if you like, and it could really take off. But as it goes, just the power that's in this thing is more than enough to keep you happy. Now, I mentioned about the boards earlier. One thing I found I need to adjust to with the long boards on this bike, and in fact on all the tourers, that's the Street Glide, the Road King, is the length of them. Now, I took foot pegs off my Fat Bob. I've got kind of mini boards on that bike, and I like them. They're good. They're much more comfortable for me when riding that bike. What I find with those is when I get my feet on the boards on my bike, my feet are in position. I can operate the shifter, I can operate the brake, I don't have to think about it. when I finally get my feet onto these big boards, I found I went to change gear a couple of times. Oh, hang on, I'm nowhere near the shifter. Or if you go to reach for the foot brake, oh, where's the brake at? I'm quite some way from it. So you do have to give some thought to foot position on it. Also, to get your feet on the boards and off the boards, instead of just sliding off like I do on my bike, which is nice and natural and comfortable, you have to really think about putting your legs out and then down, or out and then up, because there's a lot of board to get around. It's not there's some thinking to be done. You could very easily get used to it, and everybody does, of course, but it's a slightly different setup than what I'm used to. Having said all that, this is a great bike. I'd be pretty happy to have this in the garage, but I haven't yet ridden the Road Glide, and that's the other bike that I'd like to ride. I've been told that's probably the one that you'll like. Well, I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to have a ride on that in a little while, and I've since done that, and I'll put that video up in a little while and give you my thoughts on that one as well. But for now, we've come back to Auckland Harley-Davidson. Time for someone else to take this bike out, and it just as a closing touch, going to walk around the bike and show it off. It's really a good looking bike. I do like the looks of it. It's got all the things you need and more. There's little changes you'd make to it to make it yours. Different seat, put on the sissy bar, the luggage rack. You got a great tourer. Anyway, that's about it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Take care out there, ride safe, have fun. See you next time.